Okay, perfect. Hi, Kira. Can you guys see my screen okay? Are you able to kind of see everything?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thanks, guys. So firstly, good evening. I hope that you're all well. The goal of this session is to help you all write a strong nomination by learning a little bit more about the Northern Ireland 30 Under 30 programme. So how we approach EE or environmental education, and most importantly then what makes a strong nomination. And we'll also have plenty of time at the end to answer any questions that you guys may have. So thank you so much for spending your evening with me and for joining us. It's really great to see interest in the programme, as it's one of the first within Northern Ireland, and we're really trying to build on this leadership and environmental education in all forms. So this programme has been made possible by DERA, so the Department of Agriculture, Environment and Rural Affairs. And we would also like to thank our delivery partner Podium and our other funders who are PCM, Pins and Masons and Danske Bank. And then of course, we would also like to thank NAAEE, who is the North American Association for Environmental Education, as they've kind of guided us on this pilot programme within Northern Ireland. So just a little bit of housekeeping. Please keep yourself muted while not speaking, just so we can avoid any background noise. Please feel free to speak up at any time if we've said something, or if I've said something that isn't clear to you or you would like me to repeat. You can also type in any questions into the chat and I can get back to those at the end, and we'll also pause for questions throughout and also time at the end for that as well. Does anybody have any questions before we begin, or are you happy enough to fire on? Perfect. Okay, so just a little introduction firstly. My name is Jenna Potter. I am the Programme Manager here on the 30 Under 30 project for Keep Northern Ireland Beautiful. So if you have any questions after the session, my email can be found on the application form on the website and also at the end of this PowerPoint. So firstly, a little introduction to Keep Northern Ireland Beautiful. Keep Northern Ireland Beautiful is an independent charity. We're dedicated to creating a cleaner, greener and more sustainable Northern Ireland by delivering on improving environmental education in every school in Northern Ireland, also improving on environmental engagement for communities and raising environmental standards for the places where people spend time, where they live, where they learn and where they work and relax. So just a little bit about us. If you want to know any more about us, you can learn that by visiting our website, which is on the screen at www.keepnorthernirelandbeautiful.org. And we also have a fantastic relationship with NAAE, and we put forward members of staff each year to the conference of the 30 Under 30 programme, and that's how this was all inspired and came about. So we have great partnerships there with them too, and I'll explain a little bit more about that later in the PowerPoint. So what is environmental education? I do want to get to the application part of this information session as soon as possible for you guys, but I want to give you a little bit of a background to environmental education, and this also may help you in your application process. So just before we dive in to the EE 30 Under 30, I just want to briefly share with you some ways that we define environmental education. So first and most importantly, EE goes beyond sharing knowledge. It is also about equipping people with the tools, the skills, and the motivation to be stewards of the environment. It's very much a learning process, and it's all about delivering critical thinking skills to make informed decisions about the environment. So it's not telling people what to think, but it's how you can guide that and how you can get them to think. So it's encouraging open discussion, it's encouraging problem solving, to build a capacity of people and groups to address sustainability issues in their communities as well. So really helping people on how to think about these things. And EE provides opportunities for people to learn about the environment and sustainability issues, including the role that we play. So see the connections between the social, environmental, and economic pillars of sustainability. It's also looking at how you build skills to address those sustainability issues, how you can reflect on their values and their attitudes, and also how you can ultimately make informed decisions and take action using the knowledge and the skills that you guys have then gained. So what is leadership? Some of you may ask. So since we ask about leadership in your application, we recognize that leadership shows up in many different ways. So you each have your own unique mix of leadership styles, of leadership traits. So with this 30 under 30 program, we are very intentional about not giving you a very specific definition of leadership that you kind of need to fit into, but it's broadly, we think of leadership as leading change and inspiring others in your community, your organization, or your network. And that is what we define it as. And just to show you the wide diversity of leadership traits out there, this was a little kind of cloud, word cloud from one of the subsets of the NAAEE 2021 nominees. And just this is to show you some of the themes that emerge when we ask them what makes leaders. So you can look at this for inspiration, but we also encourage you to really reflect on what uniquely makes you a leader when you're putting that into your application. And leadership examples. We give these examples also in the application form when you go through under the questions about leadership, but this is just a few specific examples of how leadership can show up. So building partnerships and fostering collaboration. Oh, just let me Kira back in there again. So building partnerships and fostering collaboration, promoting a clear shared vision for change in your community, adapting to change and uncertainty, finding innovation or innovative solutions to challenges, creating space for equitable participation and engagement, mentoring or coaching others, but also listening to the needs of your community, colleagues, and others as well. Does anybody have any questions about any of what I've just went over there in terms of the leadership or environmental education pieces? No, no problem. So just to move into the 30 under 30 piece then. So with the 30 under 30, our goal is to celebrate the leadership of young people around the world and really to help you give a professional boost to wherever you are in work or in your career. So as a 30 under 30 participant, you would receive access to the following. So you would join a virtual alumni, which brings great opportunities for networking and learning from fellow 30 under 30 participants across the world. So you get that connection across the world. Now, bearing in mind, Northern Ireland, this is the first pilot program that Northern Ireland has set up. So this is going to be a lot of building on what is happening and making those connections, and we are really trying to look into how we can do that for the participants of the 2022-2023 program. So it's a really exciting opportunity, and there'll be plenty of opportunities that come up over the next 12 months. It's also recognition. So as an awardee, we will work with you to help share your story on our platform as well as on your own, and you'll also receive then a physical award. So I think it's like a certificate that you will have that recognition for that too. So having access as well to you also have access to professional development opportunities throughout the year as well. And the top 5 will have an opportunity to receive a small grant, and the first place candidate will receive a scholarship to attend the NAAEE conference in 2023. So there's really great opportunities there, and we are still sussing out how that's going to look in the next sort of 6 to 12 months. So it's really, you'll be coming on this journey along with us, and we understand that it's a tight turnaround for a lot of things because due to just the time period that it was put into. So if you do have any questions about that, even afterwards, please don't hesitate to get in touch with me too. So the program started back in 2016 and it has quickly grown, and the kind of alumni community has become really instrumental for the NAAEE. So we're going to really tap into that and have the recognition and how we can build the next generation of leadership of EE. So this is the first pilot program for Northern Ireland, like I said, so we're really excited for this opportunity to grow the program here and grow our alumni over the next number of years with this as well. So I'm just going to get into, I suppose, a bit of the nitty gritty of the application process now. Again, I'm going to pause and just ask if anybody has any questions that they want me to go over, or anything they want me to clarify for now. Is good? Okay. If you do, please don't hesitate to ask. So in terms of the timeline, this is what it's going to look like. The deadline for applications is the 23rd of October at 11:59 p.m. On Monday, the 24th of October, the first 40 applications will receive an invite to the Sustain Exchange Summit. Just a second. Can you all hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you okay.
I can hear you.
Yeah. I think that there's maybe one of the participants, Leela, that can't hear me. Leela, if there's any issues, let me know if you can hear me. If not, I can send you this recording then afterwards. But as long as everybody else can kind of hear me, that's great. So the deadline, like I said, 23rd of October, and then on Monday the 24th, the first 40 applications will receive that invite to the Sustain Exchange Summit. It's a really exciting summit that's being hosted by our partners Podium, and it's a really great opportunity for networking and getting to meet other people that have like-minded views and within that environment too. Then the 30 places, the nominees will be notified by Thursday the 26th of October at the latest. So eligibility. Now, who's eligible for this program? So first of all, I would like to remind you that you can either nominate yourself or somebody else. So if you're no longer eligible after listening to this, we definitely invite you to nominate a colleague or a friend, etc., who you think would be a great match. And you can nominate as many people as you like, just to submit a separate application each for them. But nominees in this, you must be 30 years old or younger as of the 31st of August 2023. Nominees must be living in or from Northern Ireland. We can only accept applications in English at this time. Applicants must agree to social media posting terms throughout the duration of the programme. And we also need you to show and demonstrate leadership through your work in your application form as well. So overall advice, I'd kind of like to give you a little bit of advice of what makes a great nomination. And then we'll also walk through the questions, the main questions throughout this. And I'll be talking about you as a nominee, but all of the same advice applies if you are nominating somebody else too. So first, for some general advice for your nomination as a whole, based on kind of feedback and when we've spoke with our partners when we've looked at with NAAEE, first and foremost is concrete examples. So something that demonstrates your basically how you can make a really strong application and how you can use EE and why you are a leader. So this paints a really clear picture for the reviewers as they read your application form. So really concrete examples. The second one is the more detail is better. So if there's a 300-word limit on one of the questions, feel free to use all of it. We don't allow supplemental documents now, so be sure to include enough detail for reviewers to really understand your work and your impact and also your leadership. So If you've been awarded other awards and recognitions in the past, that's great, but please don't list them in your application. We don't consider your past awards in our selection process, and we would much rather hear about your passions, about your work, and what you've accomplished through your environmental education efforts. So when you're thinking about your word limit, it's much better use to give us details about your approach to environmental education rather than your past awards. So for example, instead of telling us that you received an award, explain to us the work and the leadership that may have led you to receive that award. So you can list your affiliations near the end of the application, and I'll go over that as well in a few minutes, but just as a general, just give the details behind it. And overall, tell us your story. So we want to know about your work, we want to know about your impact, but we also want to know about your motivations and your visions for the future. So we want to hear about your story. And nominees that are most memorable are those that can tell a clear story about themselves as a leader, about their impact and about their goals. So also note the advice and guidance that we provide in each of the questions on the online application too. So you will see that throughout when you're going through the application form. Does anybody have any questions about that so far before I go into the application questions themselves? It's good. Perfect. So application questions, we're just going to walk through some of the questions. We'll see if you're nominating yourself, but the questions are very similar if you're nominating somebody else as well. So the first question is, please upload a video of your nominee introducing themselves and their story. So tell us a little bit about yourself. You know, what is your story? What do you want us to know about yourself? So how did you end up there? What has inspired you or led you down this path? So what do you want to know? What do you want us to know about you? Here we encourage you to share about your personal connection to your work. So how did you end up in this position that you're at? So through your nomination, we want to not only know about your work, but also the person that's behind it. So here you can include anything you would like to share about your background, your passions, your identity, anything else along those lines. Second question is, how do you use education to engage people in building a sustainable future? So describe how you're using education to engage people in building a sustainable future. Focus on work that you've already done or you're currently doing rather than anything that you plan to do. What are your goals or the issues you're addressing? What activities or approaches are you using to reach that goal? And who is your audience? So any positive outcomes that you've seen so far as well is great to note. This can include the number of people that you've reached. So be clear about your role in any initiatives. We'd suggest spending more space talking about your goals and activities, since you can talk more about leadership in the next question as well. But if you're working with in a team or within a bigger organization for the initiatives that you describe in this question, be clear about your specific role in them. So for example, did you help with planning? Did you help with implementing? Did you build those relationships? Did you manage a team? Tell us about this as well. The more details, the better. And the most important advice that we have here is to give enough detail about your environmental education work to see how you can incorporate that in environmental education into your work. So for example, if you're doing workshops, tell us the goal of the workshops and the examples of activities if you can. So just this is a really common piece of feedback that we've been told from our North American Association. So it's great to kind of have that feedback to know that this is exactly what we're looking for throughout. Question number 3, describe a specific situation or experience of yours that highlights who you are as a leader. What was the situation or the challenge? How did you overcome it? So we recognize here that leadership means different things to different people. So this is your opportunity to describe for the reviewers in the selection panel why you see yourself or the nominee that you are nominating. as a leader. Another common thing that popped up when we were having the conversations with our North American Association is that they wish that nominees provided more examples of how they demonstrated leadership in their work or their career. So just be as specific as possible about this. Describe the situation and the challenge, how you overcame it, and what are those leadership traits that you have. And the fourth question is, why do you want to join the EE 30 under 30 community? So how might you benefit from and contribute to the community, which thrives on active engagement from our awardees and alumni? So tell us simply why you want to join the 30 under 30 program. How might you benefit and how might you grow from it? And also how you would contribute, overall to the 30 under 30 community. We ask you this because it's great to look at active engagement and also building this alumni within Northern Ireland. It's great to know how you think you would benefit from it in the long term and what you would bring then to that community. If you're nominating somebody else, we strongly recommend you providing a brief quote from the nominee about their interest in joining this community too, just if it's something that you're doing, adding that in as well. And there's also the letter of support. So this is compulsory to add in for the Northern Ireland application. It's a reference of submitting a letter of somebody who can give you a good reference for the application form that you have. And it's a great opportunity to let somebody else show you and make a word of support for you as well. So it's a really nice part of the application as well. So as mentioned earlier on, we discourage you from listing past awards and recognitions, but there's an affiliations and web pages section of the application form. And in this section, you can list any organizations, networks, or programs that you're affiliated with. So focus on affiliations where you have an active role, such as being a volunteer, being staff, being a board member, being an advisor, but make sure that you specify how you're affiliated with them. You can also make this opportunity to list your social media accounts for you or your organization if you think that will strengthen your application form, and measure further what you did rather than the award. Again, just focusing on that as well. The whistle stop tour of exactly what we're looking for within the application process. So that's all the content we kind of wanted to share with you. Is there any questions that you guys have so far about the application process? Not to put you on the spot, there is the opportunity to send me an email if it's something that you think about later. But let me know if you have any questions now. Nope. That's no problem at all if you don't. This information will be shared and will be up on Keep Northern Ireland Beautiful's YouTube channel, hopefully within the next 24 hours. So if there is anything that you want to go back over, you'll be able to rewatch it from then. But if that is everything from you guys, you are welcome to drop off or stay around if you want to ask any more questions now. But thank you so much for joining us, and I wish you all the best in your application process.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks
Very much.
Thanks, guys. All the best.
Thanks.